Good afternoon. What's up? So let's think this through. So on our car, there are like numerous indicators that the car needs to be cared for, maintained, right? So you have the inspection sticker that says if your car is not inspected by this date, and some states give you 5 days extra, then your car is not to be on the road, not even parked on the street, right? Then you have your registration, right? That you have to go to the registration of motor vehicles every couple of years, depending on where you live. I know Massachusetts, it's every like 2 years or so to, make sure that your car is registered to be on the road. Then on top of that, you got to have insurance for the car, right? Then on top of that, there's a check engine light. So you got to bring this car, depending on how often you use your car, but every so often you got to bring this car to get maintenance. Make sure the oil is good, the tires are rotated, that, just checking the car to make sure that it's functioning. And anything that the person who is checking your car, who does your maintenance check, tells you that you need to work on, right? You work it on, right? Like if they say your tires are wobbly, you need new tires. I rarely see anyone be like, well, I'm going to just ride this car till the wheels fall off. No, people go and check it out. People go in and fix whatever their car is diagnosed with. So, riddle me this. Where is our inspection sticker or our engine light for our soul, our body, and our minds? How often are we putting our soul, our body, our mind through maintenance checks? Do any kind of checkups to just see what's going on. What's the thermometer? What's broken? What needs to be fixed? What's hindering us, right? Because I'm pretty sure if we had that same energy with our mind, body, and our soul, a lot of us would be operating a little bit better. So we have to get ourselves in the mindset of not taking care of something outside of us more than we take care of ourselves. Because let's keep it real, right? You could have a nice ass car, right? But if the car is parked because the engine is not working, then it's just a nice car sitting there that people say, oh, it's nice. But in terms of knowing how it functions, no one's checking for you because the car is just sitting there. That's the same thing with you and your soul, right? So you could get up every day, get dressed, get pretty, put your Gucci on, your Louis on, whatever you want to put on, right? Your Balenciagas, you could put on whatever you want to put on, right? If your soul is holding you back, right? If your soul has not been checked on, has not been repaired, and quite frankly, is just broken down, then you're just a nice thing to look at. That's just all you are, right? You're getting into relationships and you're just a nice thing to have on somebody's arm. You go into jobs and you're just a prop for the job. So you're just there to make the company look good, but honestly, they're not really promoting you for nothing. Like, you're not really doing much. And so on top of that, right, if that car does not have the updated, right, inspection sticker, right, the state is like, this car is not going on the road. Like, you're a danger to all of us, right? It should be the same thing with people. Like, no, you're a danger to all of us until you do a monthly evaluation. Like, when I swear, quote me on this, right? When my business is thriving to the point that I hire employees, I'm going to be constantly checking on their soul. Like, whoever my receptionist is, I'm going to tell her every day, you need to create a goal towards your own business. Oh, you're in school? Okay. It's okay for you to do work at do your schoolwork while you're at the front of the desk, being a receptionist, because I want you to do better. I want you to be better. I want you to know I'm invested in you. So I'm making sure that you're doing some self-care, because at the end of the day, my company may just be your pit stop. I want you to find your purpose. I know your purpose ain't here to be my receptionist. I know you got something more to give, unless that's really what you feel your realm is. But until you diagnose what's going on, and I don't even want to say diagnose, right? But until you inspect what's going on in your mind, your body, and soul, how do you know that you're operating the way it should? How do you know your mind's moving the way it should? How you know your body's doing what it should be? How you know your soul is getting fed what it needs to? Because I'm pretty sure if that maintenance person said, yeah, your tires won't last another day. You figuring out a way to get those tires together to be on your car. So if you do a soul inspection, right, and it's looking like I've met so many people, and one day I had to ask somebody, like, do you feel like you have room for emotional breakdown? Because sometimes, right, we're going. And sometimes we need to just have that moment where it's like we're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. We're just sitting still so we can figure out like what's going on in here, right? Because at some point, just like a car, right, you could leave that check engine light on if you want to. You could let that car keep running without gas if you want to, but you're going to break down. You're going to break down, and then guess what? Now that sets you back. So say you at Stop and Shop and you break down at Stop and Shop, right? Now you got to find someone to tow you. Now you got to look for someone to fix your car, right? Now you without a car for a few days, right? Whereas if you would have just took action, right, on that maintenance light that was on your car, if you would have just took action a few weeks earlier, right, you could have, you would have been out of a car for maybe a couple of days if whatever needed to be fixed was severe, right? Maybe you would have just been out of a car for a couple of days, but that's cool. It's a minor setback to a comeback, right? That's the same thing with our soul. Like, if you got to take a few days off of work for a place that's really not even feeding your soul, and even if it is feeding your soul, sometimes you just need time for you to really figure out like what's going on inside. You getting headaches for 3 weeks straight, and then you like, yeah, but I gotta go to work. What? When you don't even know what's going on with you. You using your lunch break. Then on your lunch break, you rushing at the doctor's office. Then you coming back to the office. 4 weeks, the headache's still there. Not one time did I see you take off of work to say, let me figure out what's going on. So then when you finally break down, right, then you're looking like, dang, I can't afford this. Da, da, da. Whereas before, you could afford it. You could have planned for it. Just like I know I'm guilty of this. There's days that when I know I need an inspection on my car, I'll wait, like they give you like 5 days after the day. I'll wait till that 5th day because I'm like, I don't want no line. I don't want that. And sometimes when I show up, people are able to see me. I'm in and out or whatever the case may be. But it's still a risk. It's still a risk. Whereas like if I just planned it, right? I know on this day I'm going to go get my inspection, right? I could have lose all the anxiety, right? Because then I'm like, what if the line's long? What if this, da-da-da-da? What if my car don't pass that? Like whereas I could have just planned it before, right? Before, say my car had to be inspected by July, right? I'm waiting until it's July 5th, right? So now I'm anxious, next thing you know, my car can't be parked in the road. Whereas like if I would have just done this, right? Maybe like June 31st or whatever month is, dates are in June. But at the end of the June, very early on in July, I would have been chilling. But now I got all this extra tension around it. It's the same thing with your body. You have to take time to give your body what it needs. No matter what the short-term sacrifices. Yeah, I'm gonna take off a few days. I gotta use my sick time on my vacation days. Okay, cool. You gotta do what you gotta do. The same thing, you gonna do what you gotta do for your car. Cause you could paint yourself up pretty. Just like you could have a 2020 G-Wagon Mercedes-Benz outside, right? It could be looking real pretty, but if someone say like, I never see this car moving around, and the owner's like, yeah, I went over a pothole and the engine fell out the bottom. I'm gonna just give an example. Everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. If you still never see that car on the road, it's just cute. That's all it is. It's a cute car. It ain't doing nothing. It's just sitting there. Same thing with your body. You could go get your body done. You could go get your face done. You could go wear all the makeup you want. If your mind, your soul, and your spirit are not intact, right, you are just something there sitting pretty. And so one of the ways to figure out what's really going on with you and how you're operating is to take some time to do an inspection of yourself. Whether it's someone else doing it for you, whether you do it yourself, you have to take that time, because we can give all that energy to things outside of us, yet when it comes to the things inside of us, we short ourselves. It's not making sense, because for the long run, it won't matter. It won't matter how you look on the outside in 20 years if your spirit is broken, right? If you smoking cigarettes every day, you stressed out, you still looking pretty though, because that makeup is holding you down, but your spirit is broken. And that's the thing I feel like in our community and just in society in general, there's this kind of like mentality of like, you ain't doing enough, right? Or if you take a day off, it's kind of like, what are you doing, right? And it's like, who cares? Who cares if you think that I'm doing the most because I took a week off to sit in my house? I wouldn't care what you thought, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to be in the pictures with my great-grandchildren like, like, that's important to me. Like, I don't like to meet with clients or youth before 10 o'clock. Like, I don't like to meet with them. If people be like, oh, we got a school meeting, I'd be like, what time? Because I know I like to go jogging. I like to go to yoga. I like to work out. I bring Amir to school. He has to be there by 7:45. And after that, I'm working out. So I know I got to do that for myself. I don't care if people be like, she don't got a job. She ain't working. No, I have a job. I do work. But I've been fortunate enough that I have a schedule where I could work how I want to work. So if figure it out for you. Like, stop putting this job before you, because I saw this meme one time and was like, when you die, that job gonna keep it moving. That job is going to hire someone else. That your job description will be on the hiring page before you're buried. Keep it 1,000 with you. So whatever you're trying to hold up, the image for, because you don't want to take the time to give yourself room to cry. This stuff from your childhood that's impacting how you move now, that you haven't even assessed how it could be contributing to you. Take that time. Like, who cares? I know when I was going through it, it was like a year and some change. Mind you, I've been working since I was 14. This time around, it was like a good year or so. I was taking unemployment. I was like, yeah. And I needed it. You know why? And I'm so glad a higher power lined it up for me like that, because it made me a better mother. It made me a better woman. It was one point I was putting 2 unemployment checks together to make the rent. I wasn't working. I wasn't even doing like a part-time. I honestly, looking back at it, don't know how I did it, but I had faith that something was going to happen. I saw the benefits. In the meantime, I was going to therapy. I was going to any kind of group that I felt would better me. I was reading. I was working out. I was getting myself together. I was putting myself in nature. I was doing what I had to do, because now that I think back, I don't know if I would have got that time back. That time to really discover, like, who's Regina? Like, what are we doing here? Like, where are we going? Where are we headed? I think even that semester, I even dropped some classes. I was in grad school. I dropped some classes. 'Cause I need to really figure out who I was and like figure out what I wanted to do, because this whole time was like, go to college, you'll get a good job, and you'll get this, and da-da-da-da. Now I'm just going, had a mirror, I'm going. And then finally, like, I lost my dad, I lost my grandmother, I lost my brother. It was just a lot. My trauma, like, I didn't even remember my trauma. It's so crazy that until I had, like, my spiritual awakening, or, whatever people want to call it, mental breakthrough, or whatever you want to call it, I didn't even remember my trauma. I had to go to my therapist, like, this image keeps coming in my head. What is that? And she was like, if you keep seeing it, it happens. Then I was able to start healing, because I'm like, shit. Like, how you not remember that you was molested? That's how deep we bury stuff. So when I say, and like molested by a family member at that, right? Been interacting with this family member for my whole life, and did not even remember it. Made this person the godfather of my child, everything. So when I say how important it is to do that inspection and to figure it out, I could give so many stories. I could be a living testimony, but do it. Don't be letting your car have more inspections or an up on you. So have a good evening. As always, I hope y'all are blessed. I hope that y'all are finding your purpose and finding your way. and realizing that you're really the one that's driving this bus. These videos, I don't know if they're helpful, but they're really just to I'm on the bus, I'm just riding the bus, but you're driving it. So I hope you have a beautiful evening, and take care.